This is one of those very tricky poems. I think it's probably one of the trickiest poems. Teachers really find it annoying. Students find it annoying. I think it's mostly because it's quite abstract. Um, and it speaks in images and ideas that are difficult and foreign. But I think we can negotiate it. I think we could start with tissue having a double meaning about paper, thin paper, and skin. And there's something about this relationship that this poem is exploring. Um, Paper that lets light shine through. This is what could alter things. Paper thinned by age or touching. Okay, so somehow the image of light through paper, this idea of something porous, something coming, something that has personality, is intimate because of touching, is something intimate. The kind you find in well-used books. Okay, so the paper she's talking about is well-used books. For example, the back of the Quran, which is a holy book in Islam, the most holy book, where a hand has written in the names and histories. So in addition to being a holy book, for this person, this Quran is also a record of their lives. So record, religion, it has multiple uses. Who, when, the height and weight, who died, where and how, on which sepia date, pages smoothed and stroked and turned transparent with attention. So we really get this idea of just touch being such a close thing and actually changing things. It changes things being touched. If buildings were paper, that's an odd conditional, I might feel their drift. See how easily they fall away with a sigh. A shift in the direction of the wind. Maps, too. So if buildings were paper, maps are paper. The sun shines through their borderlines, the marks that rivers make, roads, rail tracks, mountain folds. So these are all borders. And this idea, again, that they're active, alive. That's another form of paper. Fine slips from grocery shops, receipts. They say how much was sold and what was paid by credit card. Might fly our lives like paper kites. What are we saying here? So now we have receipts. These are all records of life. And somehow they can fly our lives like paper kites. What does that mean, fly our lives? So these records fly our lives. Do they record and control? Do they anchor us? Yes, maybe they anchor us. They're the string, and our lives are like paper kites. That simile is a bit odd to me. An architect could use all of this, place layer upon layer, luminous script over numbers, over line, and never wish to build again with brick or block. So an architect could essentially build a world with paper that could change and record our lives all the time. And instead of brick, they'd use something porous and something that lets the light in through capitals and monoliths, through the shapes that pride can make. Find a way to trace a grand design. So here, this grand design, this huge world, maybe is interactive, It records our lives. Oh, I got the enjambment wrong. I lost this. Find a way to trace a grand design. With living tissue. Yes, there it is. So we're gonna learn about the world with something alive, something that we can interact with. Raise a structure, never meant to last. Never meant to last. It's perishes, temporary. This is the opposite of what Ozymandias thought he was doing. Perishes, temporary. Malleable, actually. Of paper smoothed and stroked, thinned to become transparent. And this turns into your skin. This turns into who you are. So paper that records us and becomes part of us and becomes part of our lives. I think that's the first real time I think I've understood that poem. Just doing it really carefully, having read it a lot, having forgotten about it. That was really interesting. I think that works. I think that the imagery is really important, and the idea of interpreting something abstract that you can interact with paper and it has a record of your life to the point that maybe it itself has a personality and a life. What's worth asking here is, what is the conflict? It seems like the conflict between is within ourselves. This remains a puzzle for me here.